Hi. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Ready, Set, Thrive. I am your host, Stacey Soleil, Director of Marketing and Technology with West. And today, our special guest is the incredibly talented Renee Roque. Thank you,
Oh,
Renee, for joining us. Uh,
thank you, Stacey.
yeah.
It's
So,
nice to be
Renee,
here with you.
oh yeah, I'm so excited to have you. I've been waiting for you to get your turn to come up on stage here. Um,
Ah,
so for those of you that are tuning in or watching our rebroadcast, Renee is the 2020 president for the Santa Clarita Valley Women's Council of Realtors.
yes.
So I would love, if you don't mind, give us
Yes.
a little bit of the backstory of how you came into the industry and how you here you are, in this huge leadership role now. I'd love to kind of hear your journey and share that with the viewers.
Sure. As far as real estate, I think as women and moms, children always change us, right? So my husband and I've always loved real estate. I never wanted to be that realtor who had her picture on a park bench or, in the grocery carts. So when people would say real estate, I was like, oh, no way. Well, it came to a point where in our lives where I, as a mom, wanted flexibility and praying about what can I do to be there for my kids, to pick them up, to drop them off to school, and then make a living for our family. And real estate seemed to be really the perfect situation for us. My husband and I were on-site residents in a 118 unit historical building in Hollywood at one time. So we had a lot of on-site dealing with residents, issues and plumbing, and it was a senior building. So we had a lot of real estate experience in that aspect, dealing with tenants. And I thought maybe those skills, maybe God was actually preparing me for something like this long years ago. And actually, we feel that it was really in preparation for what we're doing now. And I wanted to be there for my kids and called our realtor up and said, what is this thing about real estate? And we got together, and from there it just blossomed on. I joined her team, and here we are years later.
How wonderful. Now, is your husband still part of your real estate team, or are you doing different things?
Sure. So Daryl is a part of our real estate team in a different way. So originally he was in our team at Remax and did property management. And when we left our team, then we were working together. But I really believe that if people need to walk in their own talents and God-given skills, and I felt like, I'm not sure this is for you, babe. So we really came together, and where he is now is really what we feel his gifting is. And he's doing loans. He used to be a military cop, so he's a veteran. He loves the military, but he really has a quality about him that helps put things together and investigates, and a lender, and he tries to really find the best situation for his clients, and which is really a benefit. So he's really walking, I think, and doing where he should be.
Oh, awesome. What's the name of the lender that he's with?
He works for New American Funding.
Oh, okay. Very cool. And tell us, what is the brokerage that you're currently working with?
Right. So I began at Keller Williams, where you get a lot of training. Went with my team to Remax, and right now I think I've been on my third year here at HomeSmart.
Fantastic. And this leadership role that you've taken on with Women's Council of Realtor, I'm sure that having a role like this requires you to be pretty dialed in with all of the updates from a local, state, and national level, so that you can inform and make sure that from a leadership standpoint, everybody that's within your region is informed and in together. So that being said, with all the many, many, many changes that we see on an ongoing basis, let's start with the positive, because I like to start there. What are some of the things that you've seen that have changed, but have impacted in a very positive way?
Well, first of all, everyone had to pause and figure out what to do with our businesses. Women's Council, I'm honored and privileged to be a part of Women's Council, and I can say that our leadership really, they came and they said, hey, this is an opportunity for us to not sulk down. We obviously have to continue our businesses, and we are going to continue going out there, finding training, keep people engaged. And one of the most positive things I can say about it is that right now, well, I just say we had about 6 closings during the COVID when there was nothing going on. Mm-hmm. So we had to do what realtors do, which I think is be creative, right, to be there for your clients. In a practical way, the PEAD that we have to use, that's a requirement to make sure everyone's healthy. Did we have sellers that say, oh, I'm scared, I don't know what's going to happen here, and I don't want people in my house? Of course we all did.
Right.
But did we take measures to make sure we were safe? First of all, we have more paperwork with the PEAD, which requires people to say that you're not sick, you haven't been around people who are sick to the best of your knowledge, and you will wear a mask, you will take precautions. Earlier on, it started with the booties, but of course now we can't use the booties anymore because right, that wasn't very wise with some people slipping and falling. But I think the most positive thing was that we were able to still conduct business as essential workers, even within in the midst of all that happened. We right, had one client who wrote an offer on a house, but it was contingent, so they had to sell their house. So in the middle of all that, we had to figure out, how are we going to get your house sold? Right. So, and again, we always do videos with our team. We always do walkthroughs. We always think that's very, very important, not just pictures, but you have to have a full video because people always want the link. Send me the link. I want to see it before you come. Right. So thank God for years, that's just been part of what we do. Right. So we were able to do that and get that house sold with only 2 showings. 2 realtors came in and showed the house. Oh, so that wonderful. Was very, very good for us, obviously. And they were right, happy. Because honestly, I was trying to figure out, what are we going to do? Because we need to have an offer on this house buying contingent. So, but it all worked out. It really did. And so the positive thing is that we figured out how to make it work and to actually figure it out. And I think that's a lot of what realtors do is we solve problems, Stacey. We solve right, a lot of problems.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. Actually, would you mind? I want to take a step back just a tiny bit. So when you were kind of giving the acronym for the new initiative, the PPAD.
The PPAD.
Yeah. Can you break that down? What does that mean? What does it stand for? So that way, if a consumer is watching, they can say, "Wait, what is this? And what does that mean?"
Well, actually, it's in a form. It's a coronavirus addendum form that mm-hmm, we are required to have. If you go in even inspectors have to use this whenever you come in someone's home, because sellers, we want to make sure that we're honoring your home, your family lives there. So of course it has to be safe. So we send it to every buyer who comes in the house, any inspector that might be coming, obviously agents that come through, but anyone who comes through. And if you had it one day and you come in 2 days later, you still have to send it. You still have to acknowledge that you are safe and that you're not sick. And so on both sides. And right, there's different coronavirus addendums once you are in escrow that can be used to protect buyers and sellers as well.
Well, that's really interesting.
Really quickly, CAR, California Associated Realtors, really quickly got together and they came up with these addendums and forms to protect our homeowners.
Right. And that's fantastic. I mean, anybody who is thinking about, this is a challenging time and maybe they had plans to put their home on the market and now they're kind of sitting still, maybe not sure if this is the right time. It's good to know that there's these various addendums in place that are created to create a safety net and to protect all sides involved. So that's fantastic. So let's flip the coin a little bit. So I mean, sure, we've heard about the positive. What have been some of the challenges that you've been facing, and with those challenges, what have been some of the solutions that you've been able to use to help your clients out?
Sure. Well, one of the challenges is being home with 2 teenagers. So
right.
And finding space to be away. But besides that, again, the paperwork used to be that if you were driving around in the car, I'm just saying from a buyer's perspective, if you're driving around the car and you have 6 homes that you're going to show, and you happen to see another one real quickly that you like to show, you could just call the agent, hi, I'd like to show, can I show the house? Oh, sure, okay. But now, there's so much more preparation that goes into it. You have to make sure to have an appointment. There shouldn't be more than 2 people at a time in the home for safety reasons. And then you have a lot of people don't want showings. It has to be an appointment only. So there's just more due diligence that you have to do. You have to prepare harder because you have to set those appointments, and you have to have the pre-approvals. So in a way, it's been very positive for my listings. I know that when an agent wants to show one of my listings, when they have a serious buyer, the elimination for looky-loos, there's no looky-loos. If you're out,
that's
and
nice.
your listing going out, that's because you're a serious buyer.
Yeah.
And so as a listing agent, you make sure that before you bother your sellers with this. So in that way, it's been very, there's a small amount of people that you've been able to, the focus has been on those people who are serious.
Right.
So, but again, from as a buying side, if I have people in the car, then I can't just stop and say, oh, let me show you this one.
Right.
So that's been sort of a negative, and it takes a little longer to set up those appointments. Yes.
And I think I've heard that some of the creative workarounds to sometimes if you're a buyer and you're in that situation is, having your iPad with you. Can you see my iPad here? Yeah. Having your iPad with you, because that way maybe you see an address and then you look and see if they have a virtual tour, and you can say, hey, let's take a peek at that. So it's really cool that we have technology to come up with these solutions on the fly. And, we always knew that the landscape was shifting. We always knew that technology was coming here and it wasn't leaving. And just having this out of left field, it just kind of gave everybody the nudge that they needed to, move forward. Now you're not one of those people that needed the nudge, and I know this because I've known you for a while now, and you've always been tech savvy, very, very dialed into video. You are probably, of any real estate professional I know, you are like the most fearless when it comes to, I'm just going to go live right now. Like, you could be anywhere and this woman will go live. And I'm like, wow, she has no fear. And I love that, because I think that's one of the unique calls to action that you bring is, that authenticity, and then just like doing whatever it takes to make the solution come together. That's what you do. And so it doesn't surprise me that you're in leadership at all. But it's been pretty fun to watch your journey. So when we were speaking earlier, we were kind of talking about some of the things that we've both been seeing in the current landscape, and there's some fragility when it comes to the consumer who's looking for the tech side, the online side of the world, to help them make the decision purely on who they're going to use for their real estate transaction. Whether that's, relying on just a review, or looking to see how many reviews someone has, or it looks like they must be the best because they came up first. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that, of course, a real estate professional is going to say who you work with matters, because that's their job. But let's talk about what that really means. Let's unpack that and talk about, if you are choosing to make a decision through online, what should you be asking yourself? What should you be asking that professional so you make the right decisions?
Well, you have to look at this from two separate angles. And the first, if we can talk about, is the buyer. So as a buyer, all you want is a home, right? And you're entitled to find a home that you love. So I would just warn buyers, when you see a home, don't just start clicking, because you don't know who's the agent on the other side. So sometimes you just want to see it, and I get it. But look at the reviews. Look at the person who you have to, how do you do? I would say the reviews, because we can all get you in a house. We all have licenses that will get you in every home in California, because that's what we can do. So don't be so quick to just say, I just need to see it right now. I need to see it right now.
Right.
Do a little due diligence. And I would say, really talk to word of mouth. Who do you know who's bought a home before, and who would recommend a realtor to you? Your parents have bought a home, or friends recently bought a home. Ask them, do you know someone that you would work with and trust again?
Right.
When I'm out sometimes, Stacey, and I see, when we used to have open houses, and when I see someone come through with certain ages, I'm like, oh, okay. And you just know, if you just graduated, even though you might be on a huge, big team, there are moments in these transactions that are sticky, and it can go this way or it can go this way. And a professional, experienced realtor who knows the ins and outs is going to be able to know how to handle that. So that's really important. And relationships are huge in this industry. They're huge. Who do you know that can pick up a phone call and talk to someone, or escrow or title? So it's always, I think I'm blessed that, as far as I know, people like working with me. I've never had any bad situations. I always try to find a win-win. A win-win. What can we do? And listen to people. This is the most important financial event of someone's life.
Yeah.
People have questions. They need to know the answers. They need to be able to talk to someone.
Right.
I feel sad for people who are going through some of these digital online, hey, let's make an offer, and all they're thinking about is, hey, we can win the house. But who's fighting for you? Who's explaining to you? Who's telling you what the comp should be? Who is the one talking to you about title? Are there liens on the house? Who's the one saying, hey, this may be a new construction home, but do you know that you have a right to bring an inspector? Because sometimes even in new construction, things aren't done correctly. Let's make sure. Who's being your advocate? So I would just, again, the advice would be find someone you know with flesh on and talk to them and interview a couple. We can all write offers for you. But please understand that relationships do matter. Find someone that people have been trusted already with someone other home purchaser or buying.
Right. Now, those are all really good points. And, that's the kind of ties into what I was going to ask next was, what if somebody does choose to, work with, do it all on their own. They're just going to use the technology. They've read an article that, this is the best way to go, save money on commissions, do this and that. And so they're like, I'm going to do this on my own. It's really important. I mean, whatever decisions people make, they're going to make, whatever the case may be. But that being said, it's important for people to hear that some of the things that a real estate professional does, you're going to be hard pressed to do those on your own because you don't have the knowledge of the industry. You don't have those relationships that you, like you said, pick up the phone really quick and, get a resolve. We all have, marketing relationships and preferred vendor relationships that we work with people we know will get us answers quickly and make sure our customers get the best result. And when we're doing something on our own online, it's just a whole bunch of hurry up and wait. And I know that there's, I don't ever throw anything or anybody under the bus because listen, there's a resolve for everybody and a style for everybody. And I think that it all has its place in the industry. Okay. But that being said, I have heard a lot of pushback from consumers who said, I went and did this because I wanted to save money. And my experience was they said I would get a professional who would be there to help me. But when push came to shove, it wasn't that at all. And the money that I was supposed to save, if you go and look on the fine print on that website, that's not actually what you are going to spend. And that's not the kind of money you're going to save. I have people that have told me, and they've shown me the paperwork, so I know it wasn't just, hyperbole. They ended up spending more than it would have been if they kept it straight with a real estate agent commission-wise.
Yeah. That's sad.
That's crazy.
It makes you sad. Well,
and
first of all, work. I used to be in the entertainment industry. So when I started in real estate, I had to take a pause and say, wait a second, am I in Hollywood again? Because there are tons of people who call, as soon as you get your license, tons of people call you because in this business, you have unlimited income. But wherever there's money involved, there's always somebody, some shark out there, right? Trying to sell you something that you don't need, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're trainers, and I don't want to say anything bad about trainers, but people spend thousands and thousands of dollars figuring out how to convince people to do things in real estate. For me, that's not my style. I don't want to convince you to sell your house if you don't want to sell your house. I'm not going to convince you to buy this house because I work for you. My job as a buying agent is to find you the home that you love. And if you don't love it, then I haven't done my job. So I never want to convince you of anything. I work for you. I always tell my clients, whatever you want, I work for you. I'm not And we should mention, because some people don't know this, as a buyer's agent, if I'm representing buyers and I'm just out there helping you find the home that you want and negotiating everything into the end till I hand you the keys, you don't pay me anything. My commission is paid from the seller. So why not have a realtor who knows the ins and outs and the paperwork, and no, you shouldn't remove that contingency. If you remove that, you're probably stuck. Why not have a professional realtor help you? It doesn't cost you a penny, not a penny for buyers. For sellers, it's a different story because there's a little more involved in the selling. But again, I'm never going to force you to sell your house. It's not my style. If you need, and our premise, really, Daryl and I, as we think about what we always want to do, is just to be of service to people. We have a long history in real estate ourselves. We had ups and downs. We had investment properties. We had the 2010, the Great Depression, recession.
Yeah.
Great recession. Yeah, we learned a lot in that time. When we lost a home, we lost our investment property. Never again. I would never again, not ever want to see anyone on the streets again, or to lose their home. Yeah. I know what that feels like. I didn't understand everything as we were first buying a home. So I guess maybe that answers the question, Stacey, why am I so passionate? I would never want to see that to happen to my worst enemy, to lose a home and have your children and not have a place to live. That's not happening. Yeah. And I feel that real estate home is important. It's not just the building, it's the family. It's where you raise your children. It's the memories, safety, where you are. I came from Los Angeles and the inner city of LA, and I always wanted to live in a wonderful neighborhood. And we work really hard to get our children. I think it really sets you up for success if you can live in a certain neighborhood and go to certain schools. So that's what we work hard to do and deliver for our kids. All that to say that we are not here to convince you of anything that you want to do. We're here to support you and help you understand the transaction from beginning to end. We do this every day, right? We've sold over 100 and some homes. So even talking, what does escrow mean? What is a contingency? People don't know that. For us, can't tell you how many clients say, I can't believe you deal with this every day. It would drive me crazy, right?
Right. Well, I mean, and there are so many there's so many terms, and we kind of get, we're used to all of the acronyms and what this means. And I was actually discussing with a colleague just recently how we're all guilty of rolling out the abbreviated this, and that, and remembering like, oh yeah, the consumer doesn't know what that means. So we have to break it down and say, hey, so this is what this means. If you hear this buzzword, this is what it means, and this is why it's important. And I think having professionals that feel comfortable, first of all, understanding that terminology and knowing what you have to have in place, right? And then understanding the ins and outs of that, and then being able to demonstrate to that seller, to that buyer, what it is that this means and why it's important. And I feel like that right there is earning your keep, right? Protecting, advocating, and all of that fun stuff. So that being said, since I threw that word advocating out there,
yes, ma'am,
I'd like to take a moment because Women's Council of Realtors, really, that is the mainstay of what they're all about, is advocating and being at the forefront. Would you give the viewers just a little bit of information about, what is Women's Council of Realtors, and how can you get involved, and why should you get involved? I'd love to hear a little bit about that from you.
Thank you. Thanks. So Women's Council of Realtors really is a network of professional realtors who serve our community and each other. And there's just so much to it, because when I first joined Women's Council, I thought, who are those amazing women on the stage who do all of these things, who are out there reaching out to charities? They are in organizations. They're on our board. They are part of NAR and CAR, National Association of Realtors, California Association of Realtors. Who are these phenomenal women? And they still run their businesses and take care of their families.
Right.
Wow. It was very, very, I was just blown away by it. And we are in ourselves a nonprofit. So we reinvest in ourselves. So Women's Council identifies leaders in our industry, and they say, you know what, I see something in you. Why don't you try this? Why don't you head this committee? Or why don't you do this? Right. I probably wouldn't be here talking to you today, Stacey, if I wasn't a part of Women's Council, who said, hey, why don't you become our social media director? Really? Me? And it was just a great fit for me. And they really invest in self. They look at realtors, other realtors, and say, I think there's something in you. Come on up here. We need to have a voice. We need to be advocates. And it's really a wonderful opportunity, even on the local level, for people to get involved and know realtors. I think we are solution-minded, right? We always have solutions. Earlier today, I had a call from a client in Florida, and she said, oh gosh, Renee, I forgot. I want to reach my neighbor. I can't remember what her address is. I want to send her something. So you find solutions, even from across the nation. You go and you figure out, okay, what's your neighbor's address? Okay, this should be her address. She goes, oh, thank you. I just couldn't remember what her address was, and I want to send her something. So we're always finding solutions. You're always well connected in your community, right?
Right.
You're always the go-to, or we hope that we're the go-to. Hey, do you know a handyman? Who's the best for flooring? Who's this? We have so much that we have to offer, and Women's Council actually gives back to these people who do so much. I had no idea before I became a realtor in the seat on how much that you actually do from day to night. And I think sometimes, Stacey, it's unfortunate. A lot of people think we just put a house on the market and collect some checks at the end, but that's certainly not the case.
That's not true. That's true. And it's one of those things that until you're in, well, I think it's that way for any industry. You know, we don't realize what anybody really does until we walk a mile in their shoes, right? And it is really wonderful. And I have seen firsthand, because you invited me to your installation when you were being sworn in as president, and I got an opportunity to meet some of the amazing women from Women's Council. And I was really impressed. I thought, you know, this is just pretty cool how there's all these really smart, you know, driven, passionate, multicultural, different, you know, ideas, different thoughts, and everybody's coming together. And then, like you said, what I see and what I really appreciate the most is that everyone's really lifting one another up.
That's right.
And I think that's fantastic. So,
and encouraging people to be brokers, to go on, to enjoy your journey. Why can't you be a broker? Why not? Who said you can't?
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Fantastic.
It's been so wonderful during our quarantine period when we did our spring meeting, our entire spring meeting, elections, 400 people, our national 400 people. We did elections by Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's so exciting when I know we have a Women's Council thing. It's like, okay, we're going to see our sisters. And it is really exciting. And they're across the nation.
Right.
So if I get a referral, so even over the weekend, I had a client in the car, and he's a military guy. And he's like, when he makes up his mind, he's going to do it. So he called from the car and said he's on his way to Vegas. Oh my gosh, I need a Vegas realtor right away.
Like right now. Yeah.
Right now. So you know that you can call one of those realtors, refer him to someone who's been trained from a Women's Council realtor, and you can get a referral.
Nice.
It's a win-win for everybody. And I handed it to her. And guess what? He called all through the transaction the last few days. We've been in contact. And today he's running a contract on a new construction home at $745,000.
See the power of relationships, the power of referrals, and, you know, and also the power of encouraging and lifting one another up, because that's like the fuel that powers people forward, you know?
Yeah. And I think, Stacey, sometimes because this can be a very competitive industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that so much where we are here in Santa Clarita Valley, because I think we get along, the realtors here in our valley get along very well. But again, it's always competition. It's life. That sometimes you might feel alone and you might feel like no one understands. And I think people join teams because they need help or they want to feel like they're a part of something.
Right.
And then if you're not on a team, Women's Council really comes and says, come on, what are you doing? I have people that I can call when I have a question about anything happening in my transaction, because every transaction is different. Don't think just because you sold over 100 homes that each one is the same.
Right.
Never the same.
Yeah.
If you have someone, you're going to come up against something. Oh my gosh, let me just run this. what would somebody else think? What would you do in this situation? Because you're going to have a buyer and a seller, and these are human beings, and there'll be things that, oh my gosh, I can't believe he asked for that. Why are they asking that? Why are they under my cabinets? Request for repairs. Oh my gosh, didn't they know it was as is? There's always something, and you come in and find solutions. Always have to be solution minded.
Which, ironically enough, thank you for creating a nice little smooth transition. Talk about putting a bow on it. That's exactly why you work with a real estate professional, because when you have these types of nuances that come up, you want somebody that has a network they are connected to, experience behind them, and is surrounded by experience that you can, like you said, if you have an expansive network around you of people that are experienced, the odds are that somebody somewhere has seen something and can give you the right direction. So I think that's beautiful. Oh, and I would like to say, I think I noticed, and maybe is Women Councils has some men in it? Is that true?
Oh gosh, yes, we do.
Tell us about that.
We even have men who are presidents in certain networks. Absolutely.
So how does that work?
It's smart men who know how to come along and work with us. Women's Council is open to everyone. Right. To everyone. Anyone can be a part. It's really a wonderful training ground for them, and they can work their way up to any position. And there have been presidents even on the state level for Women's Council, I believe.
I was being tricky because I wanted to make sure any gentlemen that are watching this, that, this is not just a like girl power only. It's just people. And it's, if you are somebody who supports strong, capable women moving forward, having great initiatives, then please come alongside and be part of that leadership team. So I just wanted to make sure that we weren't losing any of those gentlemen along the way.
That's right. And those gentlemen have gone on have positions for NAR and CAR. So it's a great training.
That is pretty. I have noticed that there is a pretty natural transition between this organization and then your bigger next level national organizations as well. So
actually, not to interrupt you, but when I went to Chicago, a realtor building. Yeah. And Women's Council is in that. So it's really pretty exciting.
Oh, I do like that. I followed your live series when you were covering that. I remember that, actually.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we're coming up at the end of our time, but I did want to, I always like to wrap up with something a little more personal. So something I've been seeing on your social, this is one proud mama right here, and she has every right to be so. Well, we all do, obviously. We all love our kids. But your son had something pretty special happen recently, and I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what happened, and we want to celebrate that with you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yes. Well, first of all, my heart goes out to every senior from the year. I think it's been, it's tragic for us as adults, but for seniors who work their whole life, they're looking forward to senior year, proms, grad night, homecoming, all those things. I just can't imagine. So we wanted to do something special, obviously, for our son, and he got accepted at Grand Canyon University. Oh. And I'm blessed. I mean, I don't know a lot, but I'm blessed with people and resources and friends. And a friend of mine who was a West Creek mom, she has an organization called Speak.
Okay.
And she reached out to me about a year ago and said, we'd love to have Ryan a part. And her heart is to raise up young people and give them a voice to speak. And so she partners with large companies, and they put on seminars, and they empower our young people to do things. And my son Ryan, he went to one of her seminars at Microsoft here in Los Angeles, and they were able to present him with, I want to show you, a leadership. This is it says.
Oh, I like that. That's really nice. It's like a crystal version of my mic. I love it.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Yeah.
And he was given a leadership scholarship for GCU because he has a heart for service.
Oh, that's exciting.
It's hard to figure out which way to do it, but he has a heart for service.
I can't imagine where he got this heart of service from. I don't know
I'm not
where.
Sure. I'm not sure.
Congratulations to him and to you, and your husband as well, because I know you both. We're both very strong into academics yourself. I know you were a Pepperdine grad, right?
Yes.
And it's not that I stalk you; it's that I just I do my research, right?
Thank you, Stacey.
Yeah, but I just think it's fantastic. It has been challenging for the seniors of this year, whether that was, seniors in high school or seniors in college graduation time. It took a unique turn this year, and who knows what it'll happen with in years to come. We don't know. But that being said, I'm really happy that, he had that honor and gets to move forward and step into the shoes of mom and dad and their greatness as well. So.
Oh, thank you. When you think they're not watching, they might just be watching.
They're
taking
always
them to church, serving at youth group, and all that. So
they are always
very
watching.
proud.
Usually,
So
when we do that one thing that we're like, nobody's going to notice, they'll pay attention to that day. Not the day we're amazing. Nobody looks, right? So,
yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you so much for, coming in and sharing with us the importance of, understanding who it is that you work with, what kind of questions you should be asking, and, why the experience, the connectivity, the connections do matter. And that's what you essentially pay for when you're working with that real estate professional. So thank you for clarifying that for our viewers and for those that are watching the rebroadcast. We appreciate you. And I'm just going to go ahead and put up here really quick before we sign off. If anybody wants
Can
to
I say one more thing?
Please do.
Oh, my friend Sean. That's cool. My friend Sean I know from high school. He is making a comment.
Yeah, the Renee Charisma.
He lives in Japan.
Oh, that's
He's from Japan. Isn't that crazy? Hi, Sean. Don't know what time it is in Japan, but hi.
That's so awesome.
I just want to say too that also it's a journey as well for home ownership, and never think that because I can't qualify today, I can't get the house. I'm happy to say that we gave keys to someone I've known for 5 years. He was an online lead 5 years ago when I just started, and he was living in a hotel, and my heart went out to him and his family, but it took 5 years to get his credit together, to get everything ready. But to give him those keys, recently I was, I get teary-eyed almost talking about now. Yeah. Because it can take time, but we're not giving up on you. And if you need credit repair or you just have a desire to own a home and you're not sure how to do it yet, please reach out to us. We're not here for the overnight and we're going to lose you or forget about you. We're willing to hang in there with you for the time it takes because, it really is. Home ownership really is important. And I mean, of course, we know people who've lived in apartments for generations and generations, but to build wealth for your family by owning a home.
Right.
In California, it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone because
it might take 5 years in California. It might be, and it's nice to know that there are real estate professionals that are invested in the long haul. And so, what I did was, if you're watching this broadcast, Renee's Facebook link is right there scrolling through. So if you want to connect with Renee, if you have any questions for her, please feel free to connect with her. And Renee, we thank you so much for taking time out of your day because I know that it's crazy busy for you right now.
Yes,
appreciate you and look forward to seeing you again soon. Hopefully in person. That would be great.
Yes, ma'am. Ready to give you a hug. Thanks for the opportunity, Stacey. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And thanks for dialing in to Ready, Set, Thrive. And again, my name is Stacey Soleil, Marketing and Technology Director with West. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.
Thank you. Be safe.